Recognizing that lasting development rests on a secure environment, the governor of Enugu State has placed security at the very heart of his governance, proving that safety is not just a policy, but the foundation of progress. In an exclusive interview with Security Watch Africa, the governor of Enugu State, Dr. Peter Mbah, underscored his administration's unwavering commitment to the protection of lives and properties.
When we were campaigning for office, we also took the view that we can bring back Enugu to that preeminent position. And we committed to a quantum leap. We had a big vision of what Enugu could become under our watch. One of them is to grow the economy from the $4.4 billion that we met it to $30 billion in 8 years. That is a humongous growth projection and an exponential growth projection. So that means that we have to grow at a CAGR, a cumulative annual growth rate of 27%. That is huge. And we knew that we couldn't do that just from the public sector finance, that we need to unlock private sector capital. And for that to happen, private sector doesn't rely on vision or mission statements. Capital, particularly for private sector, they go to where they can find safety. So they go to a location that is safe. They go to locations where they have returns on investment. They are blind to sentiment. They are whether ethnic or regional, and they just want to make money. So we felt that there are certain things businesses can absorb in terms of risk. Businesses can absorb finance risk. They can absorb commercial risk, but they cannot absorb security risk. So we then identify as our major problem security challenges. So we saw that as the biggest elephant in the room, and we were in a hurry to escort it out of the room. So we essentially set forth at dawn. We made some consequential announcement when we came in. When we assumed office, I think 3 days after assuming office, we announced a ban on the so-called sit at home. Because the way it worked was, how could you be going out there to market the state when you have non-state actors dictating to you the days of the week that you sit at home and the days that you must go to work? We just thought that it would be almost impossible to convince any private sector investor to come into these states to invest without addressing that. So we then had to work with the security agencies, getting the police, the army, the IG was of course very supportive. The then chief of army staff was also very supportive, and in fact even the current chief, they've all been very, very supportive. The 82 DIV and all the other security agencies, the SDS, the DSS, of course, we were able to work with them. We, of course, then deployed the distress response squad and then invested hugely in technology to be able to identify where these criminals are, track them, capture them, and bring them to justice. So we had to strengthen all those processes. Again, because we can see the connection between a safe city and the growth that we're talking about. Because the large part of that growth is going to come from investors from outside, investors from private sector. So we wanted to make sure that we de-risk the security challenges. We completely take it out so they don't worry about it. It's not part of what they worry about. Thank you.
Dr. Mbah disclosed that his government has invested massively in both soft and hard security infrastructure, a deliberate move to strengthen the capacity of security agencies operating within the state.
Thinking of security as well, we felt that we must make sure that we cover all the grounds, that we get not just the city covered, because we invested hugely on a security surveillance system that is actually unique because it's AI embedded. It has facial recognition capability. It has number plate recognition capability. So this investment is not just also for the static surveillance cameras, it's also for the mobile surveillance cameras. And of course, to have those mobile surveillance cameras, you're going to install them on vehicles. And so if you look at all our DRS vehicles, you will notice that they all have cameras. And those cameras are actually not just your regular cameras because they have certain unique functionalities that help us with, tracking criminals, and they can recognize them when they drive past them. Even for those people who drive without an updated registration details or have not paid their subscription or renewed their license plates, we are able to track them, with the sophistication of those cameras. So and of course, we didn't just focus on covering the city. Of course, the city continues to remain our priority because that's your first point of call. All the impressions you sometimes have about a state begins and ends with what you see in the city. So we obviously treat that as priority, but not undermining our other locations, the rural areas. So we have cameras we sit at the command and control center, and we're able to see what is going on across the state. We have, I think, covered about 7 or 8 local governments. Our objective is to cover the entire 17 local governments in the state. We started first with the local governments we considered as, hot or dark spots, and then went immediately to ensure that there's some coverage in those locations. But again, the objective is to ensure that we have total coverage of the state and that we have a line of sight of what is happening in the state in terms of security. We're able to identify all those coming into the state. We know them. Those going out of the state, whether from the airport or through the road, we're able to identify them. We know what, at least you go out there, you may not see your regular policeman, and as you would have noticed, you don't see anybody blocking you on the road. But in terms of policing, we're alert, perhaps one of the most alert states when it comes to policing. And we cannot thank the police enough because we have a wonderful partnership with them. The collaboration is actually a model we think that other states can come and, borrow from, because we have a very good working relationship with the law enforcement agencies in our state. In terms of policing, we're alert, perhaps one of the most alert states when it comes to policing.
The governor also revealed he is working in close partnership with security agencies, traditional rulers, and community stakeholders to build a robust and people-driven security network.
So the collaboration here is what has brought us to where we are today in terms of the safety we're experiencing. The GOC, the SDS, of course, the CP, the AOC, and of course the Air Force Commander, and all that. When we have our security meeting here, it's just like what we refer to in Igbo land as Imobi, where brothers have come to, just share, their views on opinion on things. You don't see any tension. You see people working for one common objective, So I would say I'm a fortunate governor because I have a team that I work with, and we feel that we all have one common denominator. You see everybody doing its best, to ensure that we achieve that common goal, to provide a safe state, a safe city for our people to live in.
He assured residents that his administration will sustain the momentum and continue to provide all necessary support for security agencies to deliver on their mandates. Elizabeth Thanko reporting.